You are now listening to Tech Tea Entertainment with your girl, DJSHEJAI.
And REINADIYA.
Welcome to another episode of Tech Tea Entertainment. This is your girl, DJSHEJAI.
And REINADIYA.
Today's topic will be dealing with social anxieties while in the entertainment industry. But before we dive into that, we have two special guests today.
Grammy-nominated engineer and producer Frank Socorro and Mod 3 student and artist Twitty.
Thank you for having us.
No problem. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it. Okay, great. So before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's get to know our special guest today. Mr. Frank, please tell us a little bit about yourself, like where you're from, what do you do now, and who have you worked with in the past?
I'm originally from New York City, and I live now in Miami. I've been an engineer for 20 years, and I work with a bunch of famous people.
What type of famous people?
Really famous ones.
Like Mary J. Blige,
Yes.
famous type people? Nas
Oh, and CeeLo.
You want to gloat a little bit?
CeeLo, yeah.
and CeeLo.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, we Googled.
You did your Googles?
We did our Googles.
So, Twitty, where are you from? Are you an artist and a producer, and what brought you to SAE?
I'm from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Broward County. I'm an artist and I'm an engineer. I've been rapping for, I want to say 9 years now, and I've self-taught myself to engineering through YouTube, and then I decided to come to SAE to get taught by actual professionals in the industry to elevate my skills.
So you got tired of YouTube University. You said I have to come get the real deal.
Yeah, I bought a couple classes here and there, but it's nothing like getting hands-on experience from people. And then, you always be kind of wondering, like you said, at YouTube University, what they really know. And it's good to come talk to people every day that you know that they've established themselves and they're as friendly and able to help you with ease, like without hesitation. So it's beautiful.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, I think that's dope. Okay, so on a previous podcast, we had a discussion about branding. And one of the key factors that we got about branding was networking. Networking is one of the most important aspects when it comes into the entertainment business, in my opinion. But what I've noticed a lot is a lot of our artists, engineers, and producers are more introverted type people. With that being the case, I feel as though they deal with a lot of social anxieties. And we probably have some listeners are wondering, what exactly are social anxieties?
Social anxiety is when everyday social interactions cause irrational anxiety, fear, self-consciousness, and embarrassment. With that being said, I've noticed that a lot of artists use their managers to avoid dealing with the social pressures and end up getting in bad deals for them.
So our question that we want to start with you today, Frank, is have you ever overcome any social anxieties while being in the business? If so, how? And to me, I feel like you've always been a social butterfly. Have you always been that way?
No.
Like,
This is
give us the tea.
No, I'm actually don't consider myself a social butterfly. And early on in my career, I had a really hard time with networking because I never felt comfortable in large groups of people. But it was a necessity. So above my fear came my rent and needing to pay it. So what I did was, and what I always recommend to people, is just take small steps. Like, you don't have to jump into the big group of people, but go to one event that you know is going to be small. And like, I think the most difficult thing at an event like that is just learning to engage people in conversation, and going to a smaller event takes a little bit of the pressure off because now there's less people and you can kind of like, it's easier to jump into a conversation because in a room with like 4 people, you're going to have to talk to each other.
Yeah.
Whereas if there's 30 people, there's more chance of you not having to talk to anybody and just kind of get lost in the shuffle. So I think it's important to go to like small events, even going to visit other people while they're working at the studio, just to kind of learn how to like just start a conversation with somebody. And also how to like make sure that you get your point across, or figure out like, why am I going to this event? Oh, because I want people to know I'm an engineer. Okay, great. What are some things I can do? I can print business cards. I can wear a t-shirt that says I'm an engineer. Like anything that's going to like help you break the ice and then just kind of get your point across and then run. No, I'm just kidding. No, but seriously, anything that'll just kind of like start it for you. You can have a quick conversation, and then and then little by little, you can kind of build up to bigger and bigger,
You'll get
and
more
being more
comfortable.
bold, and being more comfortable being in those situations.
To be able to break out of your shell. And
Yeah, because it's really important in this business.
I agree with you. And with that being said, Twitty, have you ever had to overcome any social anxieties?
Most definitely, I still do to this day. Um,
And what is that?
um, what's it? I'm very critiquing about my music, even if it's being feel like it's ignorant or if I'm speaking a message. I'm very critiquing on it, and just the fact that I'm always hard on myself to an extent. So it took me a while to come out of my shell. Like I'm a lot more now, but like when I first started, because I started like rapping off the headset, I was just playing around with my college friends. And I was like, you know what? Like I really enjoy this. It's not bad. So just learning the ins and out of the music industry, like going to the studio for the first time, took me a long time because I was always like nervous. I was more comfortable just being in my room, like, well, I know how to hit the record button, so I just put it out there, and maybe someone will pick it up and they'll like it. But I learned very hardly that is not the case. So what I started doing, my best friend actually started getting into rapping. So and I was rapping before him, and he was taking steps like way before me. So it got me way more into it because like I'm like his right hand man. So if he was out there and he started performing first, so after he did his first show, I was like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and do it. And I was a nervous wreck, and I went out there and I did it, and it was like a release. So after that, it's just like I just put myself in that environment when I feel uncomfortable and stuff again. It's just like you got to do it. You got to do it if this is what you want to do, because nobody's gonna hold your hand and do it for you. So that's how it is now. But I still face it every day. It's just the moments like, oof, I don't. This is kind of risky, but I'm like, you got to do it. You got to do it.
Yeah.
So that's why.
No, I agree because I get the same feeling right before a set, days before a set, weeks
agree
before a
with
set. I
that.
know I got something coming up. Like, I already got butterflies. I got 2 sets this weekend. I'm over here nauseous, sick thinking about it. And I get so nervous. I'll try to shake myself out of it, go do it, do great. But it's that release when you're like, I did it, that feeling of accomplishment. I could do that again. But you go through the same cycle, but it does get easier the more you do it. And so, yeah, I can completely agree on that.
Also, if you don't get nervous, then you're not challenging yourself.
True. You feel that means you're comfortable.
Really?
Yeah, if you get
Comfortable,
up there and
yeah.
you're like, oh, this is easy, you're not going to try as hard, and it's probably going to be whack.
That's a
Now I
very
get
good
more
point.
nervous.
So every time you step up and go to a new level, you're always going to be nervous. So that's a good indication that you're
going in the right
that
direction.
you're moving forward.
Yeah, you're stepping out of your comfort
Because
zone.
when you get comfortable, then you're not moving forward anymore. You're just like, I'm chilling
You're
right here,
stagnant.
and like then you stop trying because you're like, I got this.
I never thought about it that way.
That's like when you learn to ride a bike and then you think you're nice and you take your hands off and then you fall because you're like, I'm nice.
That's the
Look at
best.
You ain't that
me.
nice, fam.
That's exactly. Ironically, what happened to me. Got the
Last
training
week?
wheels off? No, not last week. Now, hold on. Now, watch it. I learned some things in Pro Tools last week, but I've been riding a bike for maybe 5 years now.
Oh my God. I can't even get on a bicycle no more. I get really nauseous now. I don't know.
That's weird.
I don't know. So, Mr. Frank, how can one brand themselves while dealing with these anxieties?
I think actually it's probably easier now than it's ever been because of social media.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could totally just not go outside ever and just put pictures on Instagram and do Facebook Live and IG Live or Insta Stories, however people call them. And you actually don't ever have to go anywhere. So you could do that. That's helpful. But then still people have social media anxiety.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you have to take small steps and figure out what are the first ones you're comfortable with. And once you're comfortable with that, then move on and, again, keep challenging yourself. But I think that's an easy way. Also, like if you make good music or if you are a good engineer or whatever, like that's a way of branding yourself.
Yeah.
You know, your work. So people don't necessarily have to know you, but word of mouth will get around that you're awesome. So your work ethic is a way of branding yourself.
What about you, Twitty? Do you have any advice for anyone in this industry dealing with social anxiety?
I would say at least constantly practice, at least being in front of the camera or something, like your IG story or something. If you take a whole bunch of takes of yourself, eventually you might find the one you're like, you feeling yourself. You're like, you know what? Oh, just hit the send button. It'll be out there. Or just continuously promote yourself. Honestly, like show yourself doing what you like to do. Like even if it's in the studio, you're just sitting there, you're just listening to music, vibing out. You're not necessarily doing that, but you can show people you're in the environment. So they're like, okay, he's still making music. He's still doing this. He's still doing that. Because you don't want to become irrelevant. And then when you do something, people are like, oh, that's the past now. I'm on to the next thing.
Oh, you still doing music?
Exactly. Like, oh, bro, you still rap? I didn't know. Like, I've heard that a couple times. Cause especially I haven't made a video like in a while. So they're like, oh, you didn't make a video in a while, bro. What's going on? Like, we're waiting for this video or what are the songs? Like, bro, we need a video for this. It's been this amount of years. I'm like, I don't know. I want to do this for this video. I want to do that. Like, bro, you're capping. You're capping. You ain't trying to do it.
Okay, cool. So, Frank, tell us, what do you love most about engineering or producing?
I think for me, the one of the things I love the most is the fact that at the end of the day, when we go home, we created something brand new that didn't exist
Ooh,
every time.
that was beautiful.
Thank you. It's just it's fulfilling.
Yeah.
So it's not like, like a office job, like you do the same thing every day and like tomorrow you come back and it's like the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like in this music, it's not like every day it's like something new and you tried something and you made something new and it wasn't there this morning. It's like a brand new
Wow.
thing. It's like a baby every day.
Dang.
I agree with you, though. I feel like it's a form of creation, and the fact that you're always constantly creating is going to keep your mind fresh, and it's going to be able to open up opportunities for you.
Mm-hmm. I think most people don't. One time my little brother came to the studio, and he's my little brother because he's younger, but he's a grown man. And he came to the studio, and he was there in the morning, and we started, and we made a whole song, and it was like a little bit after lunchtime, and we were done, and he was like, "Yo, when I got here, there was air." And he's like, and now it's lunchtime and there's a whole song. He's like he was like, I don't even understand like how that happened.
Yeah.
And I never really thought about it until that day. And I was like, oh, you're right. Like it's just air. And you come in here and there's just air. And then you have to like put your antenna on and get the waves and
start
you know
creating.
what I'm saying?
Yeah. Dang.
And with that being said, Frank, what sacrifices did you have to make in order to become a Grammy engineer?
Whoo, a lot. I have no friends.
Aww.
Nah, it's true. I always tell people this business is really lonely, not because you're not around people, well, because when you're not in the studio, like you don't have a lot of people that you actually hang out with for a number of reasons. One, your schedule is really weird.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're at work, most people are sleeping, and when you're sleeping, most people are at work. So like people are like, hey, we're going out. You're like, I'm going to work. And then when you're available, people are like, I'm at work, bro. Like, what do you, or like on a Tuesday, yo, I'm going to the beach. And they're like, I'm at work. Like, I can't just go to the beach. So it makes it weird to like have friends. And then your friends are other audio people who are usually kind of introverted anyway. So you end up like not
hanging out, doing anything.
Not too much. You kind of like hang out like by yourself a lot, and you kind of do stuff with other audio people, but it's like you're also cherish your time off when you're full time like audio, because you work so much. So on your days off, you're like you want to stay home and like
And relax.
and Netflix.
All day.
Facts.
Mm.
Order Chinese.
Maybe some pizza. Maybe not Chinese.
I agree with her. Pizza more than Chinese.
And with that being said, what tips and advice can you give to engineers?
Don't take things personally. And try.
What do you mean by that? Elaborate.
If somebody doesn't like something you did, don't take it personally. Like, so like depending on what your job in the studio is. So like if you're the artist and you're singing and somebody doesn't like it, you have to take the criticism constructively. Obviously, if that person is offering it in a constructive manner, not if somebody's like, "Yo, that was whack." Like,
Mm-hmm.
but if somebody's like, I don't know, maybe you could do this better. Like, don't take it personally. Like, if you ask them for their opinion, you should respect it. And the same thing for the producer. Like, you're making music and you're creating this stuff, but not everybody's always gonna like it, and you should be able to listen to people and hear what they're saying and kind of like take that. And then as an engineer, what a lot of people don't understand is that when you're the engineer, you're the technical person in the room. Your job is to make sure that everything is working. And if something is not working or something's not coming out right, it's your responsibility. And that person is also paying you to be there. You're providing a service. It's the same as if you were a waiter and you brought a crappy steak. They don't want to hear, well, oh, the cook doesn't feel good today. Like, that's not my problem. Like, fix my steak. So you can't be mad at me if I go, hey, I don't want this. Like, you just go find me a better steak and bring it back. And the same thing as engineer. If the artist is like, I don't like how the kick drum sounds, go back, fix the kick drum, and let's try it again. You can't get mad at that because it's their song. They want it to sound the best. And your name is also going on it too, so you should also want it to sound the best. Sorry if that was long.
Okay.
No, I completely agree with you.
That's beautiful.
You just keep
I told
coming
you I
with
was
the
good at
beautiful
this.
responses today, boy.
Yes. Are you currently working on any projects?
I am always working on a bunch of stuff, just different stuff. And I also work at a few different studios, so there's always things coming in and out.
So you do manage multiple studios here down in Miami.
Yeah. So I have my own studio that's in Davie,
Boss.
and then I work at Cool and Dre Studio on the technical side, like helping them with all the engineering stuff and like training people and like making sure that everything runs and just being like the head technical person there, as well as like doing sessions around town. So I work almost every day.
Okay, so you're here at SAE and you're still a full-time engineer. Are you still producing?
I do produce. I'm actually working on a bunch of stuff now for a writing camp that's happening pretty soon here.
Okay.
We're gonna have beats from Frank to rap.
No.
Oh.
He got excited.
I could tell.
I
I could tell.
did. I like competition. I heard writing camp.
Okay, and with you, Twitty, are you currently working on anything you would like to share with us?
I'm working on becoming a better engineer. That's what I'm doing. But on the real side, I'm working on an EP. I don't have a name for it because I just when I finished the last song and of all the different stuff I've been doing here, because I'm gonna have a lot of different genres on there. So when I'm done with everything as a collective, I'm gonna give it a name, and I want it to drop like by December on my grandma's birthday. So that's Christmas Eve. So I wanted to drop on her birthday. Was my great grandma's like the 8th year anniversary since she passed. So
Oh, that's dope.
I want to do that for the family. So I'm gonna do that for them.
Now, with both of you guys, you want to drop that IG so people can follow you guys and follow your journey?
You can you can follow me on Instagram at callme_Twitty. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's twitjust2live, and that is it. That's my.
I have two IGs. One of them is the one that's been around the longest, and it's kind of like my personal one, and it's at Alphabet Music. And then the second one is actually I'm working on a review show where I'll be doing equipment reviews and plugin reviews and tips and tutorials.
Ooh.
And that's called at alphabet.tv.
Okay.
So stay tuned.
Boss.
Making them moves.
If you need a host or anything, let me know.
Or if you need a writer, let me know.
Plug. Thank you so much for joining us today, Mr. Frank and Twitty. We do appreciate your time.
Thank you for having us.
It was a pleasure.
And now for your listening enjoyment, Make Me Feel by Twitty.
Twitty in this thing concrete. CP shit. Twitty. But you know, I don't know what to do, but it's... Hey, damn, I just lost my composure. Baylor like a model on a poster. Everything about you real, nothing kosher. Your ex nigga that left you was a poster. On the real, I wanna call her and hold ya. Let me play with the boss, be your controller. Say I treat you right, girl, I'm supposed to. What the fuck kind of niggas what you into? Hold on, wait a minute, bring it back. Move in slow motion while your body arch your back. Drop it down low, bring it up, throw that ass. Still do nothing better than when I make you laugh, okay. Love watch you roll up that gas, ayy. When we fight, I can't stay mad, babe. Kinda crazy, I don't know what you done to me. Still, I really hope you can see. I like the way you made me feel. Like the way you made me feel. Girl, like the way you made me feel. Like the way. Yeah, I like the way you made me feel. I don't know why, but this feeling is so real. I keep your secrets. You know that my lips are sealed. It's a feeling I can't conceal. I like the way you made me feel. I like the way you made me feel. I like the way you look at me. Goddamn, little baby, you so sexy. I like the way we vibe, ooh, I like it, girl. Hope you know that I like it. Ay, taking vacations to Bora Bora. Go out on adventures like Boots and Gora. I was lost for a minute, now I found ya. Babe, give me a tour, let me explore ya. You're a goddess to the culture. Beautiful melanin color. If I could, I'd give the world to you. But for now, I hope you can see. I like the way you made me feel. Like the way you made me feel. Girl, like the way you made me feel. Like the way. Yeah, I like the way you made me feel. I don't know why, but this feeling is so real. I keep your secrets. You know that my lips are sealed. It's a feeling I can't conceal. I like the way you made me feel. I like the way you made me feel.
And that's another episode of Tech Tea Entertainment, the only place to get your tea on tech.